Oh, okay. All good. All good. It's fine. And I'll.
I just started. Do you want me to stop?
Yeah, sure. Go for it. It's fine. I'm recording it.
Where's
This
custom
guy.
IP? There it is.
And
So there will be custom loading screens. Obviously, you probably saw some of those in Dao's stream. I'm doing this off of our actual development branch, so it doesn't show the loading screens for some weird reason. But don't worry, the Kuzites will disappear, so don't worry. I also don't know why it's taking so long to load in, but we'll get there. Everyone, don't worry.
someone is asking about Korea. So there is no like set in stone plan for adding Korea. It's something that we've talked about, and the only like problem with Korea is just the increased workload. So if we do it, it's probably gonna be like after release, like at the very end. And someone's saying collab with the Korea mod. They've been like really cool. They've sent us like some of their research for the armors, the weapons. Um, we're not gonna use their models just because it's better to have um, um, to make everything ourselves in order for like all the visual style to match, right? Because you wouldn't want to mix and match, thing just so you know, just so everything looks coherent. Um, and also because we like to do everything ourselves and just we're kind of proud of like making all the assets ourselves. But yeah, no, they've been like really cool. They've shared some of the documents that they've gathered for the research, which is like super important. Um, but yeah, but we'll do it probably at the end. Um, there will be some, what do you call it? Um, Foreign items, I suppose. Like already in Japan, you will be able to find like some like Chinese and Korean items here and there, like a weapon here, a weapon there. It's
I
just
also want to enter.
yeah.
Oh, whoa!
What's up?
This is my audio freaking out. I want to also reiterate that we are in a development branch, so some of the RDCs are loading. That's why it's taking so long. But you're not going to have to deal with this on the published end, so don't worry about it. It's just on my end. I think Shrike is going to try to do the custom battle, possibly. If you
Yeah,
want to try,
I can
yeah,
try.
thank you. I'd
No
appreciate it.
worries. Okay, everybody watch me now. I'll keep
Okay.
switching streams. Fine, fine.
Don't worry. I'll change mine to where. There we go.
We're very good professionals.
Yes, definitely.
Why am I hearing myself? Because I'm watching you. That's why. Okay, custom battle. Okay. Who should I be? Otomo Soren or Shimazu Yoshihiro? Which one? Which one? Vote in the chat now.
And just go with Tomo. Can't go wrong.
Bet.
Are you gonna play on like disgusting low graphics?
I'll turn them up. I'll turn them up.
Thank you.
I forgot. Don't worry, don't worry. Let's do a big battle. Do a siege at night. Anyone in particular?
Casamat B. Do Casamat B.
Bet.
And then make sure you give yourself a battering ram. 2 braziers, 2 Zotsu for attacker, and then just all brazier for
Oh
defender.
yeah, we didn't showcase. So the siege engines we have the Ozutsu, which is a
Good.
yeah, we have it for the troops, but this is an actual siege weapon. It's a really big gun, basically. It's a big chunky gun,
Oh, the braziers for
I
defender.
did.
No,
and
for defender.
Oh, for defender.
Yeah.
it's so you'll be able to like spawn it as a siege object, a siege engine, and it's basically a really big gun on like some strobe, you know, things that you can aim and destroy walls and towers with. Please tell me it's not doing RDC.
If it freaks out again,
It
I have mine ready to go.
shouldn't.
Oh no, it's fine. You're loading in.
There you go. Nice.
Oh, there we go. Okay, cool.
Beautiful.
Okay. Very cool. I'm defender. That's fine.
So just to since a few people have asked about performance, you have a 3060, right?
I do.
Okay, so running at about how many FPS?
60, and I have my settings on the highest
Very
they go.
high. Okay.
Turn
Yeah,
off the
disable
motion
fucking
blur, depth
motion
of
blur.
field.
Yeah, there we go.
I did. Yeah,
Ooh.
I'm getting
Good
steady
man.
60 right now with a.
Okay.
It's like a 1200 man battle.
1200 men, 60 FPS, 3060.
Try to focus on
Okay.
those fire as if you can as well.
Very
So
high
good.
setting.
Okay, I'm getting there. Sieges are very big. So you have to do a little walking.
Yeah, so the challenge with sieges is just the game was made for, you know, classic medieval sieges with a castle or a walled city. Japanese castles aren't really like this. Like they're more like, you know, forts or just, you know, little fortified hills or something. So we've had like a lot of back and forth and trial and error trying to get this to work and feel, you know, nice. Um, we're going for a tiered approach. So you have two gates, two or three. I keep forgetting. You
It's about
basically
3. Yeah, it's
it's
about
kind of
3 tiers
the
each one.
same as Gekokujo, right? Like there's multiple gates in the castle that you have to go through in order to, like, you know, take it, as opposed to vanilla where there's only one and then you storm the walls and that's pretty much it. So right now Shrike started the siege in the furthermost gate and had to walk all the way to the front gate to fight, but there are multiple gates. I don't have the best GPU and CPU. Do you think I can run this mod? Yeah, I mean, again, define, you know, not the best GPU and CPU. I mean, if it's a, you know, 2006 laptop, no. But if it's like, you know,
I can give a
1060
little
and
bit
up,
of insight into that
yeah, go
as
for it.
well. Yeah, so when I first started doing development on this mod, I had a 1070. I was able to run everything fine around 60 FPS on about like high to mid graphics. Everything looks really fine, but if you have a 1070 and like I think it was like an AMD Ryzen 5 or something, you're like good. That's at least the baseline that I can give you. I don't know what that would like convert into on your end, but if you can figure out a conversion for that, you're good to go from that one. At least I know I can confirm that.
I'll just tell you that we're putting more effort into optimizing than like Bethesda. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, if you're running 40 to 50 with mid settings right now, you'll be able to run it probably around 40 to 45, I'm guessing. It's not that big of a hit. It's only a big hit at the higher levels, and that's mostly due to things like a lot of the particle effects and the cloth physics. So if you can like tone those down on your end, I think you can with like some of the LOD quality, you're totally good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might have to like um Yeah, you might have to turn down the settings a bit more than like for Bannerlord, just But again, yeah, as Fuzul said, if you can run Bannerlord, you can run Shoko. The only thing that there's not much we can do about that. I think like a lot of other mods have the issue, including like the old rounds and like Eagle Rising and stuff. Like a lot of the overalls mod, is the loading times. Like at first, when you're gonna play Shoko for the first time, you're gonna have loading times. It needs to compile all the shaders. It needs to do like when you equip like the custom horse armor with the custom reins and everything. It needs to do like GPU morph. It needs to do like a bunch of calculations. It only does it once, but it can take a long time. Like for example, whenever like I start from like a fresh install of the like Shoku, right? Like with no cache and nothing, no shaders compilation. I have a 3080 Ti. Takes about a couple hours, like an hour, 2 hours, depending on I guess you know Bannerlord's mood. It just takes a long time. I think currently there's no way we can pre-compile the shader before like uploading it on ModDB or something. So
We're still looking into ways to get around that, but things like or mods like the Old Realms and I think a couple others have that same issue. And it's not really on the modders end. It just seems like that's just the way that Bannerlord, when you're putting mods out into however it's recompiling them, it's just the way it is. It's nothing we can really do on our end, but we're going to keep trying to make sure that's not too big of an issue for
oh,
the end user.
that's the Ozutsu Siege engine. So again,
Yeah.
animations are a big, you know, fucked because it's using, I think is it Catapult or Trebuchet or whatever.
It's
Um,
using the ballista.
Ballista.
Yeah.
There we go. But
But that's all changing. It's all
it's
cleaning up.
a it's basically a hand, not really handheld, but like it's a small cannon you can aim and destroy towers and kill a bunch of troops with. We'll show the Tenshu, but the one in this map is just kind of like a placeholder, so it's not the one that's like enterable. Yes.
We'll show these Otsus during the day too, lined up so you can see them a lot more vividly.
Shoots it very far right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
they're
little too
very
accurately,
skilled
probably.
AI. Yes.
Or work in progress.
Yeah, too skilled. WIP is known. Yeah, maybe we should just make a full auto Ozutsu at this point. Make it belt fed. That'd be fun.
Is there anything else you need to show?
Yeah,
The
just show a couple more of those sieges during the day would be nice. I mean, we got to see the
More
fires
sieges?
pretty well,
try
but
the
on
try the map
map
that
E,
Nars was on.
I'll send it.
is
Alright.
that the water one or is that the
Try the one that Nars was on earlier during the day, so we can
E?
showcase the keep. No idea which one it is. Yeah,
and
kind
sorry, yeah, never mind.
of kind of seems like a pattern here. We're terrible at naming shit. Like I name all my stuff like 111 or AAA, and the maps are just like A B C D. It's just like yeah, great. We don't
Yeah,
know which one's which.
yeah,
Fantastic.
perfect.
Just try like E or yeah, just try. Fuck it.
Yeah.
E?
During
E?
the day.
Put the time of day on
Yeah.
evening as well. I don't mean to talk over you guys. I just want to make sure I get that in there. Yeah, there you go.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just give them huge ID numbers for the map names. That'd be great.
No localization, just random strings of numbers.
We'll use hieroglyphics. That'll be easier.
All our IDs are in Greek.
Is that? Can you zoom in on the Tenshu real quick?
Right? What's-
Can you? Yeah, that's the proper one.
Yeah, I like this one. Here, I'll
So-
try and use the Ozutsu.
There should be a couple of Tate shields in that lineup that are actually burnable, like we showcased before in the features map. But you'll be able to burn down all of them at the end once it's
Oh,
released.
and on that map, the
Right.
only troops that have yeah,
Oh,
the
the
camera is
camera.
yeah, the camera is fucked.
The
Right.
camera's
Oh wow.
messed up. Yeah.
The only troops that have fire
Okay.
arrows
Work in progress.
are the ones within a certain radius of the brazier, right? So
Yeah. Mhm.
that's why you have like these like braziers in the battlefield, and I think you can. It's something you can place, right?
They're not placeable by hand, but in the beginning, when you're
Yeah, yeah,
placing your siege equipment down, just like in vanilla, you can choose which pre-assigned location you want to put them in, and there's a lot of options. It's not just 4; it's like 15. And in case you guys were wondering about like optimization in terms of the particle effects, you can actually turn it down on your client end, so you can turn off the fire arrows entirely. That doesn't get rid of the fire arrow mechanic. Things will still burn, but you won't be able to see the particle effects. And that's because we're using object pooling to do that. So you're not really running into any things like a million fire arrows at once on the scene. And that was done purposely so that you don't have any issues on your guys' end. If you see any floating little fire embers, things like that, that's a known issue that is fixed now, but not for this version on this branch. But it is fixed, so don't worry about that.
just if you die, can you
I'm
use like
hiding.
the yes? Is that a burnable one?
The burnable ones are to his right. I don't know if they've
Ah,
already
okay.
burnt down though.
These ones?
Yeah, those ones. They should be.
But your
They
fire
might
arrow.
be not the current.
I'm not in range.
They might
Yeah,
be.
there you go. See, now when he's in range, he actually has fire arrows. Earlier, he didn't have.
Yeah,
Right.
because you'd be the range of the siege breachers. Those ones might not be burnable right now. Again, our branches are a little all
Okay.
over the place. Yeah.
But there's a guy that
It is known.
just walked on top of it.
Get
Well,
up,
yes,
soldier.
yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to
You
show
just
it.
helped out with that question. Got it
Yeah,
in. So get ready for another 20 minutes.
yeah. I made it. Is it in a branch?
It is.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we can show that. Yeah,
What are you guys talking
there's
about?
aura shields, and it has cloth physics too, so it's nice. Tavern city interiors, no, not yet, because again, environment is still being made, right? I'll show you the interior of the castle, right? The Tenshu over there. But we don't have a tavern yet. We don't have a proper city. I'm still making the houses. I'm still making like, again, I'm the only 1-3 artist in the team, so you know, priorities, I guess.
Um, Abe, besides some animation changes, not really. You just get the traditional Japanese execution now instead of the big old battle axe.
Uh,
Pretty much the only thing we have down in stone right now, but we're still talking about it.
I did add a katana to that actually, like
Shrike,
Oh, you did?
yesterday.
Hell yeah.
can you go into the Tenshu? It might bug
Where?
out with the the Tenshu. Try to go in.
Oh, this?
So yeah, so go slow if you can. Yeah. So everything is enterable. Again, the interior will be like filled with props and whatnot. But all the
What?
yeah, there's
I
a
freaked
camera.
out.
The camera collides with the collision mesh.
I have to be precise. I have to play
You have
operation.
yeah,
Hold on.
yeah. Let's go slow. Aim. There we go. So
There
you
we
can
go.
go in, and you can actually shoot from the windows. You can
These can also catch fire too. So the Tenshu, all those buildings down there, they can all catch fire.
yes, and will be filled with props. Will be filled with the thing is, it's all to scale and it's all proper. Um, so the thing like that's what's really important. You can actually, if you're defending, you can actually set your if you're if the enemy has more troops than you, you can retreat all your troops into the Tenshu like manually during the battle, like place them there and then use the choke points as to your advantage. And all the way to the
So
fucking
And then burn it down. Kill them all on
yeah.
the side.
yeah,
There you
there
go.
you go.
So you can really go
But yeah,
like
pull an
everywhere.
Oda card on them.
You
Burn them
can
down.
really go like in
Ah,
every
fine.
room of the castles. Obviously, it's not huge, but it's you can really go everywhere. Like that's why it's also taking a long time to make buildings, because you have to model not just outside but also inside and make all the parts compatible.
And then Andrew asked a good question. If you're in a burning building, do you take damage? We're kind of figuring out how that's going to work. We're not sure if it's going to be incremental damage depending on like the stage of the burning that it's on, or if it's just going to be one big lump death destruction, just like in Shogun 2, how they do the walls and stuff like that. That's still up in the air. And again, it's just going to come down to how our nav mesh is going to handle the buildings once they're destroyed or in the process of being destroyed. So that's still up in the air, but it's been talked about. Fake castles in one night to scare a besieged enemy? No, probably not. Um, but I think the
They
fires
did,
are
man.
pretty scary though, as they are.
Relapse.
Don't worry, I know. That's a joke.
Yeah, sieges are very hard for attackers, probably more than vanilla.
Well, the thing is,
Yeah, no.
And
you don't
If
have
you're
to
attrition is
sieging
very
as an
invest.
high.
Yeah,
attacker, good luck. Yeah.
I obviously lost with even numbers, and you probably will every time in the game. But that's realistic.
Mhm. You could just show the other ones during daytime now, and maybe just some custom battles, I guess.
Sure. Any other
Yeah.
map particular?
No, nothing particular, but any of the
Do a plains.
yeah, do a plains one. That'll be good.
Oh,
I
has
think
to
they're at the top.
These ones?
Yeah, those ones are fine.
Do F.
try during the
Again, it's
day.
the
Try
A,
during the
B,
day,
C, D, E, F
just for the
thing.
Yeah, I'm doing
stream.
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, just for the stream quality. That night's it's a bit like pixelated.
It's hard to see. All right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then Captain Fracas, we really wanted to push for having the sieges be punishing for the attacker. We don't want the attacker to have an easy time. But the fires do balance it because they start to destroy the Tate shields the attackers are using, the siege equipment they're using. So it does keep the balancing somewhat in check. The attacker and defender can't just sit there the whole time. They have to act and actually do things.
We need the new voices.
Yeah, someone is asking if some kind of a state retinue system planned for lords, kind of a lens system. We've actually spoken about this recently, where basically I think what you mean is like you hire a samurai, but it comes with his own retinue of a couple of
Oh.
ashigarus and squire and whatever. Yeah, it's not necessarily planned. We're still like figuring out if it's the best way of doing it. So yes, we're aware of that. That's possible.
Ignore that.
Just for how many FPS right now? Can't read it on the screen.
60-ish.
Okay.
50, 53, 60. It's kind of a little bit below 60, a little bit above.
Okay. Yeah, but
I
you're
have
on
a 30,
very
60.
high. Yeah, you're on if
I'm
you
the highest
drop
graphic.
it.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
a tuning.
if you drop it to like high.
Sure, I'll drop it.
No, it's fine. Just keep going.
I'll drop it to medium just for reference, so you guys can see. Most people will probably play on medium or lower.
Oh, I guess if you do have an NVIDIA card, you can use DLSS. It works pretty well.
Yeah, that's true. DLSS does have a pretty good optimization buff. Yeah.
I'm getting about 80 now, so about 20 higher.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, again, it's the same as like Skyrim mods, right? Like the better your GPU, the better the performance. It's a trade-off. Like you can't make something that looks really good without taking a hit on performance. And if we drop the quality of the models or the textures, people are going to complain that it doesn't look as good. And so it's really like for us, it's better to have good looking visuals than 240 frames, but it's still like playable, like 60 FPS on a 3080 Ti. Obviously, like I get like over 100, like 120, but it's still like you know. Before I changed GPU, I had a 1080 Ti that was like completely bricked, so I had to like lock it like 60% power. So it was basically a 1060 at this point. And I mean, you could still play the mod at like 70 FPS. It was still fine. And it was enjoyable.
Stop shooting my horse.
Yeah, and then I think we're gonna start wrapping up the stream here. I think we're gonna shoot for the top of the hour. Might be best. So
Yeah.
besides that, we'll just answer any questions you guys have that weren't asked prior. So if you forgot about anything, feel free to ask now. Otherwise, probably in the next 20 minutes or so, we'll be done here, and we'll just show some more custom battle scenes and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, we'll record some actual like HD footage.
Oh yeah, and yeah, this will be recorded for YouTube as well. It'll be cut up nice and clean to showcase the top stuff. And if you're a YouTuber or whatever, feel free to use anything from the stream. And thanks again. If you guys need to bail, feel free. Otherwise, we'll just be here to answer any questions.
Oh.
Tea ceremony. That's not exactly tea ceremony, but we do have a feature that, well, it's not ready yet, but it's the temple locations. So you can go to temples and you can interact with priests and whatnot. Fuzo is actually working on that, so I see him typing, so I'll let him explain more in the chat exactly what's planned for that. But it's
Or
tied in. Oh yeah, oh there you go.
what specifically?
He mentioned tea ceremony, but that kind of it ties into to the temple feature, I suppose, and what you can do in temple locations and how it impacts your faith thing we're working on.
Yeah, so currently it's still 2 work in progress to actually show on the stream, but we have temple locations that are settlements like towns, castles, etc. And we're still kind of working out what features we want to have in them, but some of the ones we do have are things like donation. So donating, which raises your opinion of the religions. We're going to have a kind of religion opinion system similar to the one with clans and lords and stuff, except that it's for a specific religion or like a section of Buddhism, I guess, in that particular way. Another thing is like recruiting people from the temples, and books. That was right. That was all the main ones we have currently is books, recruiting people, and also donating. And we have a few of the ones I think we're still talking about. I think was there something with training, or did we cut that one out?
For
yeah,
the temples,
the book feature as
Yeah.
well. You can buy like scripts and stuff and increase your scales. Pretty basic feature, but yeah.
scrolls and stuff, yeah. That's you pretty much nailed it. I think we did cut training from the temples. I think it's mostly just going to be recruitment, buying and selling scrolls, stuff like that, donations, and then the way that faith plays into that as well. I think you nailed it.
No, so it's not by scroll. We don't mean the like poetry, reciting like poems to ladies and stuff. It's you buy scrolls and books, and by reading them over time, you increase your skills. The same as like Warband.
Yeah, we can show some of the terrains as well. Trike, if you wouldn't mind just kind of floating around some of these little battle scenes while you're in them, just to show.
Floating.
Yeah, obviously don't float too far. The billboards will start with the
Not
trees.
the billboards.
But yeah, we've got a lot of terrain, mostly for Kyushu right now. So we have ones like the ginkgo trees and stuff like that. Actually, can you show that one? That one's really good. If we
Which
can
one?
find it. the ginkgo tree one where it's the silver grass as well. That'd be great.
Do you know what it's
Oh,
called?
Um, just try 'em.
Roll the dice, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Just try them all.
Uh,
That'd be good. I
Something
gotta rename this stuff.
we
now.
gotta rename these.
Mhm.
Someone's asking for if there's anything planned for great historical figures. I think Hakusa, if you're listening, maybe you can give more info. But basically, we're making all the equipments of the lords, like for example, like the Takeda. What was his name? I forget. Or Date Masamune with the big like crest that looks like a moon thing. It's we're making these like equipment. But Hakusa, if you want to give more info on like specific characters that have you know specific stories or whatever, like we'll make basically what Hakusa tells us to, historically speaking. I'm not well versed in Japanese history, so I don't want to answer that. The war fan that was mentioned a while ago that gives you a buff. It's not implemented. Like the model's in, but it's not a feature implemented yet. Again, it's low on the to-do list because it's easy to implement. So we're kind of focusing on the hard stuff like naval combat. Go for it.
Yeah, I'd also like to add something to the lords thing. The nature of the beast with Bannerlord is also that lords can die and lose a lot of their power and stuff like that. Just kind of the natural way that Bannerlord cycles through its clans and kingdoms. So it's hard, especially for us guys on the writing team, to try to make any sort of leaders really approachable in their own capacity and have their own quests and lines and all that kind of stuff because we don't really know how the game's going to play out in the next like week after the player starts. So Lords is never going to be there, that's for sure, especially all like the famous ones who are around during the period. But the actual interactions with them, we can't really guarantee anything on as of right now, just because of the way that Bannerlord's structured like that. It's not linear enough, basically, is the problem. So we have to account for that.
And when you keep looking at more maps.
Yeah, you can just float around stuff.
Okay. I have a bunch. I'll do the forest one.
Yeah, careful, Ave.
This one looks very nice. Probably doesn't look great on stream because of the foliage.
Yeah, the
But,
lighting is all baked, right? So that's why it looks
Yeah.
very contrasty. Because obviously Bannerlord is not capable of doing that in real time. Creating like the cover of the trees and blocking the lighting. It's all baked, so we have to like bake it for like every hour of every day, just so depending on what time it is currently on the campaign map, when you spawn in the map, it corresponds to that. But yeah, it actually makes it look like way better. It depends. Like for example, like at some times of the day, I find it a bit too dark, because of the trees are blocking a lot of the light. When you do real time lighting, obviously it's way lighter because you don't get all these nice shadows on the ground and stuff. But it makes it feel very moody, and we're obviously aiming for a little bit of like stylization and a bit of like artistic license. So overall, it's a very nice looking scene. Yes. Yes, there will be unique scenes for urban combat
Oh my
around
God.
big cities like Kyoto. So each scene is, I mean, scenes like Kyoto, Osaka, and stuff like that. We're making, they're going to be individual, right? They're going to be unique. Whereas less famous castles and towns will have, we'll pick a scene from a roster of like already pre-made city scenes that we've made. But Kyoto and stuff obviously will be unique. So we're working on a city scene that has very like urban combat. So when you spawn in, it doesn't have walls. I wish I could show it. I don't have the thing on end, but it doesn't have like outer walls. So basically, what you fight in is you fight in the actual streets in between the houses, and then once you've cleared that area, you get to the. It's basically a castle keep overlooking a city, so you get to the castle keep. So it's very very different from native, but again, it just requires kind of a lot of like finagling to make it work properly. Um, because it's again it's the game wasn't really made with that in mind, so we have to jank it until it works. But when it works really well. Yeah, as Fuzel said, native towns are just big castles. So Japanese cities in the Sengoku Jidai, they're not walled cities like you can see in like illustration from like Edo period and stuff. So we have to like work around that. They're just basically a a collection of like houses surrounding a castle keep overlooking the town. So the outer wall essentially is just a bunch of houses, and so we've created like barricades, with a bunch of like barrels or like carts and like just a bunch of like barricades. So to funnel the troops into like a specific location. It works pretty well. We'll showcase it, next stream, I suppose. But because again, it's still work in progress. But
Got it in. There is some. I don't know if Shrike already talked about this or not, or Dawa did, but there are custom factions in each of the major towns. So each culture has like a counterculture faction kind of. And so you'll be able to go through whole quests with their faction and help them or hinder them and stuff like that. So that is a linear kind of story that we get to write. So we're kind of going down that route. So you'll be able to do stuff just like that. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. I think it'll be really fun. It's also fun for us to write as well.
since we're coming towards the end of the stream, do you wanna maybe like give a little bit of hints of how the naval battles will work?
Yeah,
Just
I can
broad
give a bit more
strokes,
info
just
on
like
that. Yeah, I don't know if I touched on this already, but along the campaign map, uh, there'll be areas called ports that you can enter, build and buy boats, and then set sail all around the coastal areas of Japan, stuff like that. When you fight on the campaign map, you'll enter into just like a normal um, fight scene, except they'll be on your boats. And we're still kind of figuring out how we're going to implement the amount of boats per each scene, just given that fleets can be quite large. So we might do a reinforcement kind of wave structure, or it might just be all at once. It just really depends. But you'll be able to control each boat individually, the formations on the boats, and then the fleet as a whole. Um, and so you'll be able to use your bunes to do things like board, line abreast, line column, all that kind of stuff, and really flex your naval capabilities um, within the game. So it'll be fun.
you can actually
Besides that,
drive
though,
the boat.
yeah, you can actually drive them. That's the main thing. This isn't like was it Viking was the one for Warband, where it's just like kind of like
Viking,
Viking
siege
yeah.
towers.
Conquest.
Yeah, so the way those worked was they had I forgot what they're called, but they're basically just scripted pathways and movements that the boats follow. That's not what we're doing. You're actually gonna be able to get onto the boat and drive it around. I'd love to show you guys more about it, but it's got a lot of stuff behind the scenes that's still kind of leaking through in there, and I'd rather show you guys a full version. But you won't have to wait too long for that. We're hoping to get a nice video or at least even a stream out of the gameplay of that within the next like month or so. Are ships flammable and sinkable? Yeah, they are. So things like the Atake Bune and stuff like that have siege braziers on them, so you'll be able to light the boats on fire and stuff like that.
Yeah, not sure about
That's
sinkable
still being
though.
talked about though. Yeah, not entirely sinkable. Yeah, we're still figuring out how the destruction is really going to work for each boat and what victory is going to look like in a naval fight. But rest assured, it'll work to our satisfaction, which I think you guys will enjoy as well. Yeah, Singable's tough. It is tough. And
The
that's mostly just the way Bannerlord's structured. The physics don't really account for things. Like I had to go through a whole slew of mechanics just to get the guys to not slide off. That was like just a nightmare. So
yeah,
we're gonna
yeah.
figure out how that works.
Anything about roguery, infiltration, smuggling, or something of the sort?
Yeah, so the post-battle locations, that is pretty much the furthest that we've gotten with concrete amounts of roguery or stealth. Again, it's the idea is that you and a bunch of other bandits, when you enter the scene, are trying to loot from the same post-battle kind of pile of bodies strewn about a map. So you got to make sure that you're not overly extending yourself in those scenes, or the bandits will try to, take the loot that you've gotten, and vice versa. You can try to take it from them if you can sneak up on them. But yeah, that's pretty much the only thing we have set in stone for that. Piracy plan could be a pirate force. Yeah, I mean that's one of the major things within this period were things like Woko pirates and stuff like that. So you can definitely RP as them and kind of set your own path like that.
Yeah, because the AI,
Um,
when the AI travels on water, like they also turn into a boat, and you can attack caravans and other lords,
mhm.
and villages and whatnot, like on the ocean itself. So it's not like, but it's not like there's a story or like a quest of becoming a pirate, like the fucking Oblivion or Skyrim, uh, what do you call that? Anyway, you get what I mean. Like it's not an overarching story. It's a feature that you can use and role play as a pirate. Yeah, what do you call the forget the name?
I
Ah,
can't remember.
yeah,
Um,
whatever.
What are you
yeah.
talking about?
I yeah,
Like
I'm not sure.
no,
I would like to add
What?
we would like to add some sort of quest lines that follow into the pirate kind of scope though as well. So I wouldn't count those out entirely. But those haven't really been discussed yet, so I understand.
a guild. That's what. It's not like you can join like a pirate guild, right? And just like you do quests for them. Like that's not. It's not in that sense. Like you can join a kingdom, right? But you can role play as a pirate using the mechanics that we're implementing.
And there are Woko pirates around as well. But
And there are, yeah, but you cannot join them basically. Hey, it's 2 a.m. All right, I'm tired.
yeah, well, we got
All right,
5 minutes
guys.
left, and then we'll
Yeah.
wrap it
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Almost there.
Any more
I don't
questions?
know. You can do it. Yeah, any further questions? You can still feel free to ask in the ask a question after the stream's over. But if you want a direct response, you've got like 5 minutes to get them in. We'll get as many as we can.
Also,
I mean,
I'll show the campaign map again just
I
for him.
yeah, and with joining like the pirate gangs and stuff like that, I mean, it's not entirely out of the question. I don't want to like circumvent what you're saying, Dell, at all. But like that's not the limitation. You can go and do that whenever you want, and you can go and attack caravans and things like that. Um, but like I said before, with some of these like counterculture factions that you can join, we don't want to limit ourselves too much. So there is still the possibility of joining like pirate-esque factions and things like that. But the actual local pirates themselves are separate. So you'll see them out there and stuff like that. I think that's what Dow was trying to get at, is that like the local pirates you're seeing floating around and stuff like that, the real true pirates, they're on their kind of on their own. But that's not to say that there isn't still like some minor factions that might have some role to play in that.
If you want to really showcase the humongous scale of the map, maybe go all the way up to Hokkaido. Like it is
Yeah.
really big, like really really big. Basically, if you see Hokkaido all the way here, all at the top
Mhm.
here, it's about like what 3/4 the size of like Calradia, maybe
Three
half the
times
size
or
of
that.
three
Calradia.
quarters?
So overall, like our map is like absolutely huge, and
Are you
full of
saying three
details.
quarters the size or 3 times the size?
No, 3/4, like 75%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm. Yes, it's still pretty big, more or
And
less.
yeah,
Don't quote us on that. Don't start doing acreage calculations, please.
Look at these cities that Nurse made. Aren't they beautiful?
Oh, gorgeous.
Just to butt in about the map thing, back when we first implemented the map, before we had like trees and mountains and stuff, I ran across from Kyushu up to Hokkaido, and it took me about 8 minutes, and that was vaguely going. That was actually without a forest, so without slowdown.
That's
It's
actually
pretty
pretty
big.
long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, 8 minutes is basically Freebird.
It's Stairway
That
to Heaven.
is yes. We are our map is one Freebird length of distance.
Yes.
It's 2 Moody Blues LPs and 1/2 Freebird from north to south,
Perfect.
as the Freebird flies.
A bridge.
Well, yeah, we'll keep adding props on the campaign map. There's some little like stone lanterns, like some little props here and there. We'll keep making, adding details and making it feel more Japanese. Again, because we've focused on Kyushu and Shikoku so far, we're kind of waiting to have all the regions completed before adding too much like actual props and models to the map itself, just to make sure that we're not like adding like a shit ton of things in Kyushu and then it becomes something we cannot scale to the whole of Japan because it would be too much of a hit on performance. So once we've expanded all the kingdoms, all the lords and everything across the whole map, um, we'll add a lot of details, and if that becomes like too much of a hit on performance, then dial that down a bit. Right now, if you zoom out a tiny bit, Hakusa provided the list of all the lords and stuff for the region that's just north of, which I forgot the name of, Sanin and Sanyo, I think.
Yukoku.
That bit. So this is gonna be the next bit that's completed. It will probably take like around a month, and that basically makes it like half of the map complete. You know what I mean? So scaling up the rest of the map is going to be pretty straightforward, like pretty, quick. Again, I'm not saying like release like in September, but I'm saying that it's not because we've spent like 2 years on like Kyushu that it will take 2 years for like every region of Japan. Like the point was really to explore all the modding of Bannerlord capabilities and
Mhm.
make sure we understand how that works. So we've done Shikoku, we'll do the regions north of that, and then it's just busy work of XML and code to implement the rest.
Yeah, and that's a big thing too. Is we're trying to get all the features down for one region, and that way, when we go to Honshu and stuff like that, Hokkaido, we can really just kind of copy and paste, and that's what we really want to do. Because once this starts to once we finalize everything and all these features are done, you'll see a lot more snowballing, and that's what we're aiming for in terms of progress from us.
Every region needs lords, they need cultures, they need settlements, and it
Yeah.
just takes time. And they all have to be realistic. So
Tsushima, areas around like Hirado and stuff like that, and I think like Goto Island and stuff like that. We're still figuring out how we're going to do that, but with naval travel, it's going to be a lot easier to implement that as we go along. And you'll get more info when you see that. If Tsushima Island's missing, that's fine because we're gonna fix that. Don't worry. If it's, I think this branch might have it not even there, but you'll see it. Yeah, I know my stream's down. Yeah, because it's already top of the hour.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably end the stream here then.
yeah, Dawa has to go to bed. So
Yeah, he's a sleepy boy.
I mean, I can stay on. I don't care.
Oh yeah. I might just hang around for a bit longer as well for any further questions, but we're not in any sort of professional capacity here, so I think now it's just socializing hour at this point.
Nobody.
Now we
Nobody
can say all the
asked
things that
about
Dawa told us not to say before we started.
exactly.
Exactly.
Show all the things I said not to show. Um,
Mhm.
I guess nobody asked about multiplayer. However, we did fuck around a bit with, we created a multiplayer module, and we're able to like load into Captain Battle and do like Samurai Captain Battle. I think there's if you go in Mod News, I'll post the message link in the stream chat. We had a little bit of like dueling out. I'm just looking for the video right now, but yeah. So it's not necessarily planned right now, but I'd like for us to release like a some sort of multiplayer module at some point. not before full release of like single player, but just so people are able to do like samurai captain battles on Shokuo maps, like on custom maps.
And then again, I've said this a bunch, but we're gonna make sure that we compile a bunch of the main stuff for YouTube that we went over in here, and so you'll see the link popping up probably in the next few days or week, and expect to see some more naval stuff, especially over the summer, to keep with that summer theme of ocean travel. So we'll be keeping you guys posted on that beach theme.
Mm,
Oh man, Natoma took land all the way over there.
Ripperima.
Ripperima.
it's actually pretty stable right now. I know like Nars had like one crash during the campaign, but you haven't had any. Pretty good.
I think we fixed all of
Yeah.
the bugs.
We spent like 3 weeks fixing them
Yeah.
all.
That was a pain, but that was all you, Shrek, so thank you.
Mm,
Weasel were on it.
we all helped.
Yeah.
I think my record is like 1575 until I crashed.
I thought you
I
got
think
to 78 one time, didn't you?
10 years?
No, I think
Jeez.
75, but I fixed the crash that happened there. It's when a teenager became an adult or something.
Yeah,
I,
that was
I think I fixed that. But it takes like an hour to get there on the highest speed.
a detailed political map for the mod starting faction positions.
There's,
Mm,
I think,
that.
I think what he's asking
but-
is, like where, like what are the cultures basically that you can start with?
No.
There's a map somewhere in Mud News we posted before. I see if I can find it, but
Yeah.
it's
And then
not.
when you're selecting your culture, we'll probably show something that gives you a bit more infographic style, if that's your question as well.
There is right now. So if you eventually, right? Sorry, there isn't right now like an actual map that shows the region, but like when you go into the character creation at the beginning of the first like playthrough, when you click on the location, you will get a map of Japan showing where that location is with the text at the bottom explaining what it is. So it is there for Saikai, but we haven't implemented that for Shikoku yet and the rest of the regions. But yeah, it is a thing you'll have. Asking would be. I don't know how many cultures we have. One,
We've
two,
got
three, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we have like
I
over
think it's
10.
8.
No?
about.
I think 8 or 9. I don't know.
I remember 8, but I think we're approaching near 10 recently. There's 2 Hanses in here, so Hans with an S. Yeah, we're really pushing to show some naval stuff coming up because we do have a ton done, and it pains me that I don't get to show you guys, but you'll get to see that here in the next like 2 months. Definitely over the summer is going to be naval centric for sure because it's really the last main feature that we need done. I mean, I don't want to say need done because there's a lot of work left in terms of like finalizing and finessing all the other ones, all the other features, but that's like a big one that we're pushing for. So you'll see a lot more of that. And that's all also it's very dependent on when the modding tools are released and the 1.2.0 beta comes out as a like very,
Well,
working
yeah.
release because that's the biggest problem currently.
So the
We
problem
can't.
right now is we need 1.2.0 to really like dive into the naval battles. The problem is 1.2.0 kind of breaks a lot of things, and the other problem is you need to have your game and the modding kit both on the same version of the game, 1.2.0. they have not released 1.2.0 for the modding kit yet. So we're in a weird like in between of wanting to get in but we can't. So just a little bit of waiting.
Mhm. When was that? It's known. Yeah.
Today.
Custom. Yeah, custom unit feature. We talked about it. It's still kind of up in the air. Not really sure how we'll implement that. Maybe for like some Hatamoto, but can't really promise anything on that right now.
Yeah, like that. There's another feature we plan on implementing is the freelancer feature. So it's being able to join a Lord army as a troop soldier, as a foot soldier. The problem with this feature that we haven't really solved once, right, is that it's really good when you're playing as like the actual battle, like as an actual foot soldier, but it's really shit when you just following like in a Lord party on the campaign map doing nothing for like 20 minutes because the AI just runs around doing nothing. So we haven't really like we want to implement it in a way that makes that like waiting time actually meaningful, but we haven't found that hook yet, like how to do it. But that is a feature you'll be able to do, right? Like to join and be just a regular Ashigaru and then be promoted to eventually samurai maybe.
Yeah, and then Hans with the Z. Yeah, the biggest thing's probably the economy rework that's being handled by Randy, who's unfortunately not here right now, but he's kind of bearing the weight of that whole rework. So that's probably the largest thing being redone. But in terms of like most important, it's mostly just getting all the bugs figured out, importing to 1.2. That's gonna be big because we're not sure exactly what they've changed. I mean, looks like it's not too bad, but we'll have to see.
Oh, well, yeah, I suppose you can also expand on that. So basically, the economy rework and the industry feature is like a huge task because the way it works, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's each village now has but you know what?
Oh
Go
yeah,
for it.
that's a
Yeah.
big thing we didn't. Yeah, that's a big thing we didn't really talk about, but I kind of mentioned it a bit. I think in an answer I had to Captain Fracas when he asked. And I feel like I'm butchering his name too. But anyways, the all the villages have Japan centric production resources being um basically converted into, so rice, stuff like that, non-European things, obviously, because it'd be weird to have some of that here.
Yes.
But with the economy and industry rework, what we're trying to do is to make the impact of players who want to not have as how do I put it, like we want to make sure that a player playing as a merchant or playing as a blacksmith or playing as a whaler or whatever you want to do has just as much impact on the game as somebody who's leading an army has. And obviously that looks different because taking over castles is a bit more dramatic than making 1,000 Yari spears, but the impact is still the same in the sense that lords will have quests like I need 1,000 spears, I need them over the span of 2 months, and so the player now will actually be able to create better caravans, or at least we like to consider them better, to help facilitate that. So a player that is providing proper resources and is doing more for the faction that they're serving logistically will be able to see their impact with the better units of each army, faster boats, things like that, depending on how they've helped the faction beyond just militarily. So that's where the economy and industry work really starts to flex its muscles, is in that kind of dynamic change. But you're also looking at things like whaling, where you actually get to go out and hunt whales, like in a little mini game. We want to try to get some more mini games out there, and they're not like super arcadey. We still want to have that Shokoho feel to them, where you're actually participating and it feels legitimate. But I think that kind of covers most of the rework. But it's basically just to make logistics more dynamic. Yeah.
Oh, and I'll just drop the
Uh,
because we do have a whale model, 3D model. I'll
oh
just
yeah,
drop a
drop
little,
drop that somewhere.
yeah, little
Yeah.
video of it. So when we say like a whaling feature, it's not we don't just make it up on the spot. Like we actually have 3D
Yeah.
whale model like that's ready to be implemented into an actual whaling feature when you hunt whales and everything. So we wouldn't make the model for like no reason, obviously.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to also preface that I kind of butchered about like I guess like an hour ago with the naval mechanics. It's like when we say stuff where it's like, yeah, you get to use the cannons and this and the fleet features, like we're not just, you know, we're not just talking out our ass here. Like we have all this planned out and ready to go and being implemented. But that's just part of the speed that we're traveling as. It's hard to show you guys a lot of this, especially since we're just kind of flying through these prototypes at this point. So that's the main thing we want to preface here is this isn't just like us talking about it. We have things already in motion. So that I know, and that's always big for me when devs talk about things is like, well, let's see it, you know. Let me taste the sauce, you know.
Yes. Oh God. Yeah. Basically,
Actually,
it's not just Also, another thing, that whale is, I was gonna say historically accurate. It's geographically accurate. It's an actual like, because in Japan they have these whales with these like weirdly little like white spot on it, and that's an actual like Japanese whale, right? So when we go into like a ton of details just for like feature, like it's again it's difficult to convey like how in depth um some of this work is. Um, and I know it sounds probably like it sounds easy to just say like, oh yeah, there will be naval battles and stuff. But again, like, once you really sure you don't want to show the drivable boat? I know it's like super early and like work in progress, but just to kind of you know confirm we're not making it up.
Should probably wait, I think, but all at
Wait.
once society.
All right.
oh, I didn't realize I was muted. Oh my
Oh, okay.
god.
No.
Um, I'd rather show you guys it in like 2 weeks
Okay. All right.
when we get it really finished, so we can really finalize it because it's just so under the hood. I feel like it's going to be a little underclimactic, which I don't want to spoil. And that's just Shoko in a nutshell. Soon TM, you know.
Yes. Soon TM.
Yeah.
Soon TM.
Well, it's just there's a lot of debug stuff. Like you saw that kind of in like the Shoko testing area. There's a lot of like standing points everywhere, and everything's like nothing's hidden. So there's just gonna be like a ton of ghosts everywhere, which is just weird. Oh, but can you pull up the inventory real quick, Shrike? And then Gunadan, if you want to see this, because I'm a big pokey guy. Scroll down to the food real quick. And if you get onto the tuna, would be great. Where is
That'd be
it?
great.
That'd be great. Yeah, if you could come in on Saturday, we're gonna need you here on Saturday and
Tuna
just
meat.
inspect it. Be nice. These we're also just using vanilla assets at the time being, but I thought I'd pick that prime cut, that real good yellowtail,
We need to make this a
that
fish. This
bluefin.
is dumb looking.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just like pork.
Yeah, whale meat. Yeah. It's
We're working on it. We're working on it.
it's Sloppy Joe Tuesdays at the Shoko house.
No,
It's
but we
the
have
mystery meat.
we do have crab and
Goose?
lobster.
Oh yeah, we do have crab and lobster. But
Oh,
that's again, it's just
yeah.
like with the whale thing, and we want everything perfect, you know. Like
Crab.
so the lobster is not geographically accurate lobster. It's not an Issei lobster.
It's
'Cause Issei
not.
lobster have a different coloring pattern, and they don't have claws. They're just like every other Pacific lobster. So
We'll fix
don't
that.
get me started on lobster. That's my fucking thing here.
We'll fix that. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll fix
Fix it in
that. I
post.
swear. This is embarrassing to show.
I'm so sorry about this.
Yeah, please. I need a custom
Mm.
Issei lobster sticker too, because I hate using the one with claws here in the Discord. Um, but yeah, the naval mechanic is like a big thing, and we had mentioned it previously and stuff like that. So we're definitely wanting to push and show you guys that ASAP. Whoa, well, I don't have any. Oh yeah, thank you, Fizzle. Lobster is inaccurate currently. Yeah. Yes, definitely. And if you think I won't add in a lobster clan and an lobster clan emblem, you are mistaken sorely. You'll pay dearly. Oh yeah, I love that. Did we turn off the whistling arrow sounds recently? Because I haven't heard them.
No, we haven't implemented it yet. It's just the problem with sounds in the game right now is it's a bit, it's not. It doesn't work really well. It's really difficult to mod sound because they're using a third-party tool to get the music to be like dynamically played, depending on what you're doing, like victory, defeat, campaign map music, tavern, whatever. What they're using is like a third-party tool that they are licensing. That means that this tool isn't moddable. Like we can't mod that because Tailworld doesn't even own that tool. They're just licensing it. So it just requires, like, it is possible to add music, and we've added music. It just requires like a lot of code and just like sounds are just, it's a headache. Again,
They Yeah, and they've apparently done some work in 1.2.0 for the sounds, but Reznov, one of the guys who's been helping us a lot with everything, was saying that like there's some issues with it. I don't know exactly the details, but I do know that like sounds have always been a bit of a Bannerlord crux in a way.
yes.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Yeah, we'll figure out some peacock banners. Don't worry. I'm sure there's some historically around Gundam, so can't promise anything. But if they existed, we'll have them.
Peacock.
Exactly.
We should probably wrap it up here.
Yeah, just because of the time difference,
All right.
everyone's gonna need some sleepies. We don't want to keep you guys awake too long.
Oh, I got more chocolate
Um,
models to make.
want to thank you guys all again. I don't think Nars is here, but if he's listening, want to say thank you.
He woke up like at
Captain
6 for
Practice,
you
thanks
guys
again
because he's
for
in
the
Australia.
yeah, yeah, the things he sacrificed for this project.
Yes.
Captain Fracas, thanks again for the Twitch stream and for translating everything. That was huge. So if you're still here listening, thanks for that. And everyone else, thanks for just your support in general. And we'll make sure we get everything out to you a bit quicker now. The past like 6 to 8 months has just been crazy for the development team, personal wise and just project wise. So your patience is extremely appreciated. And this summer you'll have a lot more to look at. So we appreciate it. Thanks again. Oh, the inventory, that was Dilbert. Sir Lord Dilbert is not only great at 3D modeling, but fantastic at 2D illustrations as well.
He's okay. He's annoyingly good at everything.
Yeah, it's and the smugness. This guy.
Yes, he's like,
Oh,
so he taught me 3D, right? He doesn't do 3D for Shokuo because he's busy with other stuff, but he taught me 3D, and he's like literally amazing at it. And he's like, I kind of want to do some UI thing because it's like relaxing, and he just opens up Photoshop, and then he just fucking does something amazing. So it's like
he pumped this out in like an hour and a half.
he's
if
just annoyingly good at everything. Like it's very
And-
very like amazing to watch him work, but like very frustrating at the same time.
Yeah,
but yes.
the custom loading screen he did by hand too. That was ridiculous to watch.
Yes. Yeah, he does. He did the loading screen as well. But yeah, he's really good.
I think that wraps it up though. So we'll let everyone get to bed and relax. But if you guys have any more questions, ask a question is always down the are always up there, so you guys can use it whenever you want. And then I think if you can't see it, it's because you haven't read the
Yeah, we'll
the
remove
rules.
that.
Make sure you do that. Yeah,
Like, every
I don't
day
even know
I
if
have
you
to
can
tell
even
like
be
20
here if you haven't
people.
already done that. Yeah. But make sure you read those rules because a ton of the questions that people have asked are in the mod fac. So if you ask a question we've already seen, we'll just direct you back to the mod fac. And that's not us being mean. That's just us trying to save as much time as possible because if you want naval battles, you need to read the mod fac.
You
Every
stop asking
second
about the
counts.
release date.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that too.
But yes,
You'll have it.
I'm gonna stop recording. I think my drive's probably full at this point.
I don't even know how
Yeah,
you
I'll
can even
stop
save
streaming
that.
now.
Yeah, fingers crossed.